Yeah, so far, I mean, everybody knows that Coach Spags' defense is really complex, but I mean, coming in, to rookie minicamp, you obviously want to get a head start on that, right? So I feel like the opportunity to come out here for rookie minicamp, learn the defense, kind of go through the first couple of installs has been really good for me. Overall, I feel like I'm catching on pretty well. Honestly, right now, I feel like I'm at a good stage where I can, keep going back and looking at the notes and looking at the film and saying, okay, I was supposed to do this instead of this, right? So just catching on slowly day by day.
Obviously, he really liked you coming out here. I guess just how the conversation's been just working with him hands-on now.
They've been great. Yeah, they've been really great. For him to coach me up on the side sometimes, and as well as one-on-ones in practice or one-on-one situations in practice when it comes to, oh yeah, we should have called this instead of that, right? So I feel like that says a lot about what I can do, but then as well as to Coach Spags, I got a lot of respect and trust for him. So to being able to learn from such a great defensive-minded coach is the blessing and the opportunity that I want, right? So.
What were your first impressions overall of your practice in the NFL for the first time?
Yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good practice for me. Some things to clean up for sure. The get the first day jitters out the way. But overall, I thought it was a really good practice. Going out there, flying around, making some plays, communicating, making sure everybody was on the same page. So overall, I thought it was a great day. For sure, room for improvement, and I'm not settling on that. Going out to or wanting to go out there and make a even better day today.
You said jitters. How nervous were you out there?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say so. When I say jitters, just kind of like getting back into football shape because you're going through that combine training and stuff like that. So I'd really have to say just getting back into the football shape. But more overall, when it came to nervousness, I wasn't nervous.
Jeff, when you look at your background as a safety, it seems like there's some spots where it's pretty obvious that would help you out. But in what ways do you really notice that it helps you see the field differently? Maybe having played deeper in the backfield at one point.
Yeah, I think the main way it helps me out is knowing what my DBs are doing in the back end, right? So sometimes the communication may be different compared to a linebacker's communication from his job standpoint, right? So when it comes to knowing where my safeties are rotating or knowing what kind of coverage we really want to show in the back end, right? I kind of have like a second sense of, okay, now if the safeties are doing this, now I can do this, right? But then as well as when it comes to coverage ability, obviously being matched up on running backs and tight ends, and then running with receivers as well that's something that is not a mismatch for me as it would be for some people. So all good in that area.
Do you enjoy the assignments that have you in coverage for that reason?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I take a lot of pride in that. I take a lot of pride in being that guy where people can say, Jeff, we need you. We need somebody to cover this tight end on third down or first and second down whenever that situation does come. So I do take a lot of pride in that.
After your last game at Oregon, you take off the jersey and now you're on your own. It's like no man's land. How nice is it to land with a franchise like this and look around the room and you guys are all wearing the same colors? It's
truly a blessing. Walking past Josh, obviously, he went to the school that knocked us out of the playoffs, but I'm sure we'll have jokes about that down the road and stuff. But overall, it's truly a blessing to come to such a great franchise and a great organization. And like I'll keep saying, I'm so blessed to be here, and just to have the opportunity to walking into the building every day, and just seeing the Kansas City Chiefs logo everywhere, meeting the coaches that you watch on TV, and you're like, wow, I really love the opportunity and chance to play there. So to be here now, to be living in the moment, it's truly amazing.
Jeff, how old do you know Kingsley? How old do you know Kingsley? It seems like you guys follow each other everywhere.
Oh yeah, Kingsley. So I came in with Kingsley. And then he unfortunately hopped in a portal, went to BYU. Had a great couple seasons at BYU, and then he came here. So, but sometimes he goes back to Eugene for his wife or fiance. So yeah. I remember one time I think it was a couple weeks ago. I was sitting in the airport, Eugene to go back home, because after pro day was kind of just training, working out, staying in shape, and then Kingsley was getting off a flight, so I seen him just kind of chopped it up with him in the airport for a little bit. But I know Kingsley very well, know his family very well.
Couple more. We'll start with Vahe and then Matt.
Jeff, obviously your physical skills are what's brought you to the NFL, but I wonder how much of an advantage you think your sense of the field and your communication abilities, how much a part of your game you think that is, how that drives your game?
I think it tremendously drives my game. A guy who was responsible for doing all that at Oregon, I feel like that translates here as well. Especially under Spags' defense, you got to be a linebacker that can communicate, make sure your defensive line's set, and as well as making sure the DBs are on the same page as everybody else, right? So I took a lot of pride in that at Oregon, and so for me to have the same role kind of headed into a defense where, you know, there's a lot of communication, I feel like, you know, that's a perfect situation for me, right? So, and I just got to keep getting better at, you know, making sure everybody's right, making sure I'm always one step ahead of the game.
And just with regard to that, how do you account for your instincts being what they are, and that's such a part of what they see in you, and your sense of all that? Where does that come from? Yeah,
it comes from film study. I'm a huge film junkie. There's some times where, you know, I'm just sitting in the house all day watching film for hours, right? So I take a lot of pride in, you know, taking good notes and watching a lot of film, right? And I think that just really came from, you know, my love of the game for football. So in high school, you know, when I first started getting into football, I remember I'd go on YouTube and I'd watch NFL defensive breakdowns, right, of just like defensive coverages, like people on YouTube just saying, oh, this team's in this defense and this linebacker is responsible for this, right? So that, I really had that itch for watching film and just wanting to learn more about football and defensive scheme. And then I really started moving that over to offense, right, picking my OC's brain at Oregon, getting close with the quarterbacks and learning what they're understanding and what they're trying to do from an offensive standpoint. So really just I've been doing a deep dive into both sides of the game.
Last two, Todd.
I guess it's different than a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys got to multiple schools. You were only at one school. You didn't transfer. You know, NIL's been a thing now. Do you feel like that stability you had at Oregon and, like, you know, the NIL part of it and all that, are you more prepared to be a professional athlete now than maybe guys 5 years ago who didn't go through some of the things like having a little bit of money here and there when they're in college?
I think so, but just a little bit, because when it comes to, you know, earning NIL, obviously you're getting paid a lot of money at a young age. You're being well taken care of, right? So I think that forces you to grow up a little bit faster, right? But as well as back in the day, I feel like guys were still, you know, mature with, you know, not having money and then earning a lot of money. There's still guys in the league, you know, obviously there's a lot of, you know, vets in the league that, you know, weren't earning that NIL money, but now they're, you know, just fine. So I think it's a little bit of 50-50 when it comes to there could be some people who earn that a lot of money, but then, you know, tend to slough off and think they've made it with the NIL money. But the goal is to get, you know, more money and obviously, you know, future income, right? So when it comes to, you know, earning that money at a young age, it forces you to grow up really fast. And if you handle that really well, then I think you're set for, you know, life and also, you know, transferring into the league or, you know, transitioning into the league, I should say.
Last one, Matt.
Hey, Jeff, you wore a couple different numbers in college. I think you wore 2 in high school. Why 31? How did you end up with that? And any significant meaning to that for you?
Yeah, 31. So the first reason was for my teammate Kyrie Jackson, who was on the Minnesota Vikings. He passed away, and he wore 31 when he got drafted to the Vikings last year. So I wanted to honor him, but then as well as a little bit of reasoning for my family as well. I got 3 sisters, and I'm the only boy, so I kind of seen the 3 and the 1 go hand in hand. But yeah, those were the main 2 reasons. First and foremost, I just want to say rest in peace to my brother Kyrie Jackson. You know, I got a guy who was very passionate for the game, and a guy that I remember having a lot of conversations about, just about, you know, life, and then as well as him being hard on me and me being hard on him. So I wanted to honor him, but then as well as for my family as well.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks,
Yeah, thank you guys.
Welcome to KC.
Thank you, appreciate it.